Let's welcome the guys who give voice to My Hero Academia, Chris Sabat and Justin Briner. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. And Miranda Sanchez is our resident anime expert.
Anime.
And I know...
That's my thing.
Yeah, that is your thing. And I know you've been enjoying My Hero Academia. But for those of us like myself who haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, what's the show about?
So it takes place in a sort of modern-day setting in a universe where children have started to develop superpowers at an early age. Around 4 or so, they start to realize that they have superpowers, and they're called quirks. And they manifest, and it's a whole like superhero, supervillain society that's come from that.
And because of that, there are really popular superheroes, like superstar superheroes. And some of them are even hired by, say, the government to be like super government heroes. But of course, they need them because with all the superpowers, there also come super villains as well.
Sure, of course. Can't have the yin without the yang.
Exactly.
And then who do you two play?
I play Deku, or Izuku Midoriya.
It's just Deku.
Deku, right.
I think we ran a poll once. We're like, what do you call him? Because there's so many names for him, and we settled on Deku.
Deku, that's a simple answer, yeah.
Works for me.
I call him Deku.
He was the most popular.
My character's called All Might. He is based. His character model looks a bit like Western animation. He almost looks like a comic book character straight out of a Marvel comic or something. He is the world's most famous superhero. He's like the Top Gun superhero.
I see. So do you grant Deku his first quirk? Is that how this?
Yeah,
correct.
That's kind of how it works. Although there's a bit of a twist to it, because most of the time you have to just inherit your quirks. Like it's just a genetic thing.
Sure.
There's a special bond between Deku and All Might, and he receives his quirk in a slightly different way.
I see. All right. I know Miranda has a bunch of questions for
I
you.
do.
Set it up.
I have some more later on questions for season 2, especially. So for the fans out there who know My Hero Academia like I do, let's jump into this.
Okay.
So season 2 features a lot of changes for the students. It's more about them figuring out who they're going to be as heroes. And I really want to ask you the important question of who chose the best hero name.
Yeah, that was a great episode where all the students in the class picked their names. Obvious answer is Froppy, the best, the frog hero, the rainy season hero.
That's weird. You guys took my answer.
Oh,
Like,
great.
come
Man,
on.
See, there's only one.
So yeah, in that episode, like they're all cheering for Froppy. I'm like, yes, she's the best. But a little bit more serious side. So Deku and All Might have this really intense relationship, and Deku's always admired All Might, and that's kind of changing with Deku kind of figuring out who he's going to be as a superhero. He's always idolized him. His first costume was based on All Might, to look like All Might, like very much on the nose.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to change going forward as Deku figures out his, I guess, own personality as a hero?
I think that's a great question. Deku has always idolized All Might ever since he was a little kid. And I don't think that's going to necessarily change. You know, he has the same goal as All Might, is to be the #1 hero. And he's very driven to that goal. I think what he'll have to do is find a way to make that power, the great power that All Might bestows on him, his own. He's having trouble wielding all the strength. He's got to find a way to make it more personal to him and I think grow as a hero.
Yeah, I think currently Deku really needs All Might still. Although, as people can tell, All Might's getting weaker and weaker, and I have some real fears about the future of All Might, honestly.
We saw like that All Might ghost kind of thing going on whenever Deku was kind of got possessed.
Right.
And I was very concerned. I was like, All Might, are you all right? We need you to be all right. You're the greatest hero.
It is my biggest fear. Normally, like when you start a show and you play a superhero character, you kind of know that your character is going to exist by the end of the series. But because All Might's health is declining so quickly, I'm really worried. I'm genuinely I keep asking My Hero Academia super fans, if my character's still alive in the future, because I'm scared to look.
Yeah, because the manga's ahead, so
Yeah.
it's dangerous because there are definitely spoilers out there.
Ugh.
But keeping it on All Might, what makes him the greatest hero? Because he is actually the #1 hero in this universe.
I think he just has this amazing, unbridled enthusiasm. It's that big smile. He really puts it on. He's like the George Clooney of superheroes. Everyone just loves him. He does it for everybody else. He's very pure of heart. He's very honest. And I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't even know a whole lot about All Might as a person too, because we haven't I haven't seen his backstory yet. I don't know where he's from. I don't know why. I never saw his rise to fame either. So these are all answers I'd hope to see.
Yeah, we're kind of getting there slowly as season 2 progresses. We're finding a little bit more about his history as Deku trains with his old mentor as well.
Right.
But the most important question I think we all want to know is, could All Might beat Superman?
That's a good question.
I feel like you've thought about this before.
Well,
It's not the first time.
I'm starting to, more and more. I have a lot of thoughts on this. The thing is, I think that All Might and Superman would just want to hug it out for a while. Like, I think they'd be too friendly with one another to even start fighting. And that would be a problem because then it would last maybe longer than an hour. All Might would have to power down, and he'd probably just like flick them like this. And
Do you think maybe Superman would forfeit after that, being like, this isn't a fair fight anymore, you win.
You're right.
You
All
win.
right. I think they'd just talk it out for a long time. I don't think they would fight. I think they would just refuse to do that.
Yeah, that's fair. I think they're both beacons of hope. Like, why would they fight?
Yeah.
I know people always ask, like, who would win, Goku or Superman? I'm like, ugh, this again. So,
If you ever get a
let's start up
chance,
with All Might.
if you ever get a chance to ask Sean Schemmel his philosophy on like Goku versus Superman, it's pretty epic actually.
He's got it all thought out.
Yeah.
I have to ask that. So another just kind of speculative question. Do you think Deku would want a sidekick when he grows up?
I think he might. I think, Deku's so full of passion and exuberance that he'd want to give that to someone else. He might look for another hero that shares his same unbridled enthusiasm and be like, come on, kid, let's fight some villains.
I always wondered, like, what kind of hero would pair well with him. But I guess it's something you'd have to see in the future, how his power grows and how he uses it. Because it's obviously very different from how All Might uses it.
Yeah, it'll depend on how Deku makes it his own and what sort of hero he ends up growing into.
We do know he's going to be the greatest hero.
Oh, he's number
At
one.
the very beginning.
Totally.
Most episodes, I'm like, all right, this is his story. We'll
Just
see
by
at
the
end.
way.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hey, thanks for telling us the end. No. So My Hero Academia is hugely popular, and a lot of people are like, hey, this is like the next big shonen thing. And why do you think that is?
I think that a show like My Hero Academia, it's so entrenched in this superhero culture that's sort of universal. Everyone understands what's going on, but they're able to subvert it in a lot of clever and creative ways that even if you feel like you've seen these stories unfold before, there are still enough twists or enough creative characters that you're like, oh, that's a great new spin on it. That's really engaging.
Yeah. I also feel like they take a level of care with the animation that you normally don't see in a shonen anime.
Right.
It's gorgeous.
Bones is just like murdering it, and they're kind of breaking the mold too, where they used to spit these shonen out really fast, week after week after week, and they're really taking their time, taking breaks in between seasons, just like we do in America, to make sure that each season is super polished.
Yeah, it definitely shows. I talked to their chief animation director at Anime Expo, and he just, obviously this team is full of passion, and they really care about the
They're
product
the nicest
doing.
people. And this, working on anime for this long, it's very rare that we've ever had an opportunity to speak with the creators as the show is happening. Normally, back in the day, we used to receive the anime 20 years late, and that gap has like been getting closer and closer. And now we're just at the cutting edge of them releasing it at the same time we are, and being able to talk to them and ask questions and be in panels and do interviews with them and hear answers to questions that we would have never imagined hearing when we were working on Dragon Ball or something like that. It's really fun, and it's really helping inform our characters and our choices and stuff like that.
We have a question from one of our viewers on Twitter. Remember, all you have to do is tweet your questions at IGN with the hashtag SDCC. We might respond to you on the air, like Firewalker did when he tweeted, "Any chance we'll see Deku's dad at some point?"
Ooh.
Wow. That's been a big mystery ever since sort of the beginning of the show, because Deku's mother is such a strong presence in his life. Where's his father? I'm not sure. I've heard a bunch of theories that he's like a traveling businessman, or that he just isn't in the picture anymore. I'm not sure. I like to think that they're saving it for the appropriate time. Like, we'll meet him when he's there for a reason.
I'd like to think it's like maybe Edward Elric or something. It's some weird crossover to another anime.
Going to
would
another
love
anime,
that.
yeah.
Surprise! I traveled between dimensions. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay, sure.
Where can people, myself included, watch My Hero Academia?
You can watch new episodes coming out every Saturday now on Funimation Now with the subscription service.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I have to say, you guys have lent your voices to many, many shows and games that I've watched and played over the years. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Yuri on Ice, One Punch Man, Attack on Titan, games like Infamous Second Son, even games like Miss Explosion Man. Chris, you're in Miss Explosion Man.
Yes, God,
That's like,
it's been a while, but
I mean,
God,
yeah,
I
love
Twisted
that
Pixel
game.
guys
So
so
that's very
much.
cool. The earliest credit I could find for you is Dragon Ball in 1986, like before Dragon Ball Z.
That actually extends a little bit before I actually started working on it. I was on a feature that I think came out in 1986.
Okay.
But so that predates my involvement by about 10 years. But the first thing I did was a movie from 1986 called Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle. It was this really junky, kind of made. It was kind of a test to see if we could even dub Dragon Ball.
Interesting.
And after doing that particular test, they said, "All right, fine, Chris, stick on if you want to like work on Dragon Ball Z." I'm like, "What's that
Okay.
show?" They're like, it'll be pretty good.
It'll turn out to be a thing.
Yeah.
Many years.
It's a
down
little
the line.
thing, you know.
Cool. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming by the show.
Hey, thank you
Thank you for having
This
us.
was awesome.
Guys.